Alrighty, welcome back to Modern Day MMA. This is your host, Chris Meyer, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Kale Meyer. This week, we're going to be recapping the big win Cyril Gane had over Alexander Volkov from this Saturday evening. A couple of other fights we're going to talk about earlier on in the card as well. We'll see if we can get into a little bit of MMA news later on in the episode as well. How you doing, Kale? How you dealing with the heat?
It's tough out here, as you can see from the perspiration on my face. It's hot, and my AC unit is not that good, so it's tough. It's about 46 degrees in Kelowna, which is like what? What is that in Fahrenheit?
116.
114, 116. Fuck, it's
Yeah.
so hot.
Yeah, that's Texas weather right there.
Yeah,
Um, it's
yeah,
about
we're not in
39.
Texas.
I think it's about 100 where I'm living, which
Hmm.
isn't the worst, but it's still pretty warm in here.
Yeah.
Luckily, I got the AC going and a couple of cold beverages. All right, where do you want to start on this fight card, Kale? It was actually a pretty good fight card throughout. Did you manage to catch any of the prelims, or are we talking about main card only here?
I caught the knockout that Kennedy had, and that was where I started.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I went
Um,
back and watched the Jeremiah Wells knockout. The but I just watched the knockouts themselves. I didn't watch the entire fights.
Oh yeah, yeah. That Wells versus Worley Alves fight, that was a pretty big upset actually. Um, Wells started with a frenetic pace, like a really high pace in the first round, and I figured after the first round ended, I was like, oh well, he blew his whole wad, and now Alves is going to take over, and then he got kadooshed in 30 seconds in the second round, so that was a big
Kadooshed.
upset.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, luckily I didn't pick him on that one. But there was some other good fights. Martian Prochnio, I think, versus Ike Villanuevo.
yeah,
Did you see that liver kick?
yeah. I saw the kick.
Yeah,
Didn't
that
see
was a
the entire fight
vicious.
though.
Yeah, it was a back and forth fight. I mean, Ike was using superior boxing. He looked really good, and yeah, um, he was holding the middle of the octagon and just landing better boxing combinations using his hands only, basically. And
Hmm.
Prochnio was kicking up a storm. Actually, he landed a lot of good kicks, and then eventually landed that body kick right after. It was a nice little setup. Actually, he switched from orthodox to southpaw, then threw the left body kick right to the
Hmm.
liver and crumpled Villanuevo. That was a good fight.
I love a good liver kick.
Oh man, it's my favorite shot
It's the best. It's the
because
best. I
you
mean,
just
other
get
than like a
shut
liver
down.
punch. Liver punch is cool too. Like
Yeah,
the Aldo Stevens one. That's the one that always comes to mind because that was just like that was from like across the octagon. He landed that thing, and that's like the hardest punch to land. Like I always try and hit that punch, and I just suck at it. I just get hit every time I do. That's why I love that knockout.
yeah, yeah. Another one that I really like is Alistair Overeem on Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, yeah,
Another just the juiciest Overeem out there, and just
yeah,
shuts down Brock's poor fucking disease-ridden colon.
yeah. It's just like steroid versus steroid. Who takes the better steroids?
Yeah. Apparently, horse meat is triumphant.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Okay, well, what
technique and
else?
horse meat.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I mean, the guy was fucking super good back then too. I mean, he's still a good fighter, but very technical for a heavyweight, especially 10 years ago when they fought. Um,
Yeah.
it was crazy that fight was 10 years ago.
He's had such a long career, man. Like just and not doing it the right way either. Like maybe outside of the octagon doing it the right way, but getting knocked out every second fight. He's had more knockout losses than a lot of people have fights. It's crazy that he's still as mentally stable as he is. I wonder if like he's just gonna hit like 55 and 60 and just like fall off entirely. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone knows how that CTE works really.
No, I think a lot of it's genetics.
Yeah, it seems
Some
to
people
be
are just you know
because and the problem is that you can judge a guy's career, but you don't know how he's training or how long he's been training, what kind of gym wars they have, right?
yeah,
Um,
and that's where it happens for sure. The gym wars.
yeah, because those guys at like shoot box, for example, right? Like Fabricio Verdum and Vanderlei Silva fighting each other, and Fabricio and Shogun Hua, right? Those guys used to just straight up fight
Yeah,
in the gym.
every time.
So, that's if you're doing that a couple times a week for, a decade, um,
Yeah,
or 2 decades, you're taking a lot of shots. And obviously, it affects everyone differently, right? Because some guys
yeah,
hardly take any shots, and it seems like it affects them more
yeah,
versus, like Alistair Overeem. He seems 100% fine, and he's had a lot of tough fights, right?
yeah. What's going on with Fabricio? Because he won that fight versus Gustafson, and then what?
He got released.
He got released. That's what I thought. I was like, why haven't we seen him?
Yeah, he kept asking for his release.
And then they just gave it to him.
Yeah, they finally gave it to him. They realized that paying him how much money was probably not worth it or whatever, right? He
Yeah,
fought in PFL.
that's crazy. It's crazy
Yeah.
the branding that UFC has. Because like,
You didn't
I
see
would,
that
I would.
fight?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, it's from he just fought like a month and a half ago. He got knocked out, but the guy he fought, Henan Ferreira, tapped to a triangle choke before Werdum got knocked out, and the ref didn't see it.
So they went back and gave him the win.
Yeah, like a
Oh,
month
nice.
later. It was
That's
weird.
cool.
It's one of the only times I've ever seen it overturned. And it was kind of like, I don't know if it was even that egregious, right? The guy kind of did one of those, they call it a Brazilian tap, right? Where you just like, do you tap once and then the guy releases the choke a little bit and then you get out of it? Um,
Yeah,
Tito Ortiz did it to Chael Sonnen when they fought.
yeah.
Otherwise, Tito would have fucking lost that fight. But yeah, no, it was it was weird. The guy just did like a little fake tap, and then the ref never seen it, and then Fabricio got knocked immediately after, like 2 seconds later.
Fuck.
He kind of let the triangle go, and then Buddy's like, "Okay, game over.
Yeah.
I lose."
Or you could just be like Kevin Lee versus Oliveira and just tap completely and then just keep fighting
Keep
like you didn't
fighting.
tap.
Yeah, I don't blame Kevin for that one because I think he went out.
Yeah, he must have went out. He
Like
obviously,
just
yeah.
for a second, he was out for a second from that choke, and then he's just like, "Oh, I must have got out of it."
Yeah. Damn, I'm
Oh,
good.
look, I'm on top.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ground and pound, baby.
Fuck, that's good.
Hell yeah.
What
What else
worries me
happened on the?
about
Hey,
Oliveira is that doesn't he train at Shoot to Box?
I don't know where he trains now.
I thought he trained at Shoot to Box. I wonder like how his longevity is gonna be, how he's gonna hold up over the years.
Well, who knows? I think those
Because he's
guys
already
don't.
had a long career.
I think they don't quite train like they used to. Um,
I hope not.
I mean, I don't know. Guys seem to know a little bit better now. Uh,
Yeah.
but you never know, right? I mean, a lot of guys think that, well, this is just what you have to do to become a champion, right? And a lot
Yeah.
of guys do become champions by doing that. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I just think you leave your best performances like unseen, you know? Like
yeah,
in the
maybe.
gym. It's tough to say though, you know? Like I think some gyms they have the outlook like, you gotta do that every now and again, but it's gotta be pretty rare. Because I think it's good to kind of emulate a real fight. Like how do you better prepare yourself for the mental and the physical of a real fight other than getting in a real fight? But it's tough. It's like, do you want to do it like 1 week out and risk getting fucking stunned, or do it like 10 weeks out to try and get used to it? Like, who the fuck knows? Five
Yeah.
weeks out? Because you can't
So
do it every
there's
week.
there's a lot of different theories about it, right? But a lot of guys think that once I know how to fight, I don't need it to spar as much anymore because you already know how to fight. Now you just want to get in proper shape and get your rhythm back, right? And your timing and stuff. So you don't really need to spar hard. Um,
Yeah.
Tony Ferguson said that. Robbie Lawler's started doing that. Um, and then there's a
Max
lot of
Holloway.
guys, yeah, Max Holloway. And then there's a lot of guys that say, you know what, you have to hard spar. You just otherwise you're not going to be ready for the fight.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know.
I think it also varies. Like, literally every person is different. I think some guys maybe need to hard spar to get themselves in that kind of mental state. And other guys are like, I'm just gonna fucking chill. And when I get in there, I'll be able to pull the trigger. So yeah.
yeah,
All right.
it's hard to tell. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously there's more one way to skin a cat, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else was on these prelims here? Anything else sweet?
Sweet.
Charles Rosa had a nice little decision over Justin James. Um, Justin James bet his entire fight purse on himself and then
Really?
lost. And now he's
Oof.
lost 4 in a row, so he's probably getting cut. So that was I don't know. He said no regrets, but I don't believe
Yeah. Fuck
him.
that. You're making 13 and 13, bro.
Yeah, you know what
Just
the worst part is? No, I think it's 26 and 26. Um,
okay.
but the worst part is that he had Rosa fucking on Queer Street in the third round and then went for a takedown.
What the fuck?
Yeah, tough out there.
That sucks.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was like Andre.
Andre Sukumtoth level fight IQ, Joe.
Andre Feely did the same thing, didn't he? Didn't he have him hurt and he went for a takedown? I think I
mm,
remember that.
I don't think so. Oh yeah, he
No?
might have. I no, he didn't really take him down. He dropped him and then went to the ground with him instead of
Yeah,
making
he
him
kind of
stand
well,
up because he
yeah,
hurt
he
him
was
with a
up
liver
against the
shot.
cage and he like went in for a takedown, I thought.
I thought it was a after he dropped him from that liver shot because he had landed a nice liver kick too.
Yeah, yeah, he did. That was a good performance by
It's too
him.
bad it ended from the eye
Yeah.
poke.
Yeah, there was no
Yeah.
bitching out there though. Buddy was literally trying to guess
Oh
the
yeah, he was fucking
answers.
lying to the ref, and then he's even like, they should have just let me go the other 5 minutes or whatever. And then DC's like, well, you still can't open your eye.
Yeah.
So
He's like, oh well, whatever.
he's like,
Like
I can see. I'm looking at you right now. It's like, well, your eyes closed.
yeah, pretty much both of them.
Yeah,
Like your one eye's hurts so much that your other one's like scared to open.
yeah.
Yeah,
Pineda's
it was
tough as
bad.
nails, man. Like he wanted to keep going. He didn't give a shit. And he was even like, I like it when guys are can think outside the box enough, like they're real enough that they can admit when they were. He's like, he was fucking me up. He was winning that fight, and
Yeah, he didn't try and be like, oh well,
well, I was just getting warmed up, like Nate Diaz
yeah,
in round three
yeah,
or something. It's like, well, he was smashing you for 3 rounds.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, that was really a good fight while it was lasting for sure.
yeah. He's starting to
Um,
become a veteran. That guy. He's got so many fights in the
he
UFC
does, and
now.
he seems like he's starting to come into his own. Um,
Yeah,
he's
he's
looked good
mixing
for
it
a
up.
while. Who did he just fight? That's really that was a nice step up. Another prospect. I can't remember who he just fought, and it was Bryce
He's had a
Mitchell.
lot of close decisions too.
It was Bryce
That
Mitchell.
he, yeah,
Um, that was a competitive fight, but Mitchell just was another level on the ground, though.
yeah. I think that Sadiq Yusuf fight. I remember that being a pretty close fight.
It was, yeah, yeah, definitely super close. Um, what other fight was I wanted to talk about? Did you see the Hanato Moicano versus Jai Herbert fight?
Yeah, fuck
Yeah, that was a
yeah,
good fight. Hey, Hanato Moicano's a fucking killer.
yeah. Why did he ever like deviate away from grappling? Starting to like, he tried standing with everybody for the longest time. It's like, why are you doing that? Like,
hmm
you're a fucking killer on the ground, dude. He
Yeah,
had nothing for you.
he's got a great pace. Um,
Like, really
good
good.
good ground and pound too, and he's working for the submission. You can tell, like he's always advancing his position. I really
Yeah,
like it when guys there's no rest, right? They're not looking for to win a decision or whatever. They
yeah.
want to finish fights, and
Just control time. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's a it's
Yeah,
it's
he had him
a
like full mounted for more of the fight than he didn't. It felt like he was like,
yeah.
"Oh,
He
he's
had him
got the full
mounted for a
mount."
long time, and
Yeah,
just easy right to mount. Like within 10 seconds of the takedown, he'd have him in mount already. I was like, holy
yeah,
fuck.
yeah. He's
Jai
another one of those guys
Herbert's
that I think's gonna benefit from hopping up to 155, like
yeah.
Oliveira. He's built well for the class. He doesn't look small either. Um, yeah,
No, he seems to have filled out a little bit. I mean, he ran into a tough one against Rafael Fiziev, but
yeah. That was a fucking that
again,
physique guy,
he
man.
didn't
Holy
try and
crap!
grapple him at all.
No, no, he didn't.
Oh, I forgot the zombie knocked him out too.
Yeah,
That was
that
at
was at
featherweight.
featherweight.
Yeah, I just forgot that fight happened.
Yeah, he was back to back KO losses there.
Yeah, yeah, the one against Jose was a tough one, man. He took a lot of shots in that fight. That
Yeah,
fight could have been stopped like 40 seconds earlier.
yeah. Yeah. It's funny how guys like, you know, it's more often where guys will hop up and weight and they'll start doing really good more than like, they'll go down and weight and start doing good. It's just, I think it just goes to show you like the weight cut is killing these guys.
Yeah,
Every now and
definitely.
again, like
But also, it's
Edson
hard.
Barbosa, he's
Yeah,
looking good at
it
featherweight.
depends what weight class though, because you can't go from 155 to 170.
Well, yeah, the moment you get into these 15-pound jumps, it's too
Yeah,
much.
you just can't do it, right? Like, I mean, Rafael Dos Anjos probably did the best at 170.
Yeah.
Um, I would think out of guys that have gone up. Um,
Yeah. And even then, like he lost quite a bit.
well, he just
He
was
was
too
back down,
small, right?
you know.
Leon Edwards, Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman, those guys are just fucking huge,
Yeah.
and they're grapplers, right? So that's a tough stylistic matchup.
Well, I mean, Robert Whitaker, he's like the prime example.
Yeah, and that was a 15-pound jump too. So
Yeah, that's a big jump. It just takes time too. I think anybody that's really good at one weight class could be good at the next weight class, but it just takes a long time.
yeah.
Maybe that's why John's holding out so long. He's like, "Fuck, man, I gotta take some time to adjust to this heavyweight form."
Well, you only get one shot at making your debut, right? Like if John goes in there, gets knocked out, his stock drops a lot, right?
I think the sport is passing him by. I think if he steps in the octagon two more times, I think he will lose one of those fights. Guaranteed. I think he will.
Well, it's just the odds are not in his favor, right? He's probably going to be fighting someone younger than him, but he's also right at that spot where he's young enough that his athleticism probably hasn't slipped that much, and his fight IQ is just through the roof.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Right?
just look at the
Because
fights he's had. His
yeah,
last two fights, it's like
yeah,
those guys aren't even in like title contention at all. They just got beat in their last two fights, both of them. I don't know. I don't think. I think fuck. I even like. I don't know. It's tough to say. He just never fights anymore, right? But you see what happened to Reyes in his last two fights. He just got the fucking piss beat out of him. And you look at a lot of people think he won that last fight with Jones. Maybe it was a good matchup for him. Who knows? But I don't know. I think he's taken too much time off, and he says he's training, but I fucking doubt it. I doubt it.
yeah. I think that Reyes fight. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell because he is a really good fighter, but I think that John really underestimated him. Right? He's like, "Fuck, this guy has 12 fights. I'm gonna smash him." And so I don't think that Jones was in prime form that night. Um,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's just making an excuse for John or whatever. But um, yeah, Reyes did look really good that night too, though. So and Reyes is a good fighter. Just because he lost to Jan, the champion, and Yuri could be the next champion. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Yuri's a scary guy
That's
to
what I'm
fight, right?
saying though. Like John's gonna either fight one of those guys, or he's gonna fight like Stipe
Or Francis
or Francis.
or Cyril.
Cyril, dude, Cyril, that guy is. I guess we'll talk about it in a bit here, but his defense and his speed is just ridiculous.
Well, why don't we just go into it now? We can talk about a couple other fights earlier in the
Yeah,
card
like
later if you want.
I was shocked. He just shut Volkov down. Just shut him right down.
Yeah.
Like it was weird. I'm like, how is he doing that? Like, what is he doing that is completely shutting Volkov down to the point where he doesn't really have any confidence in his shots? Like he's not. He's kind of just like reacting to what Cyril's doing, and he's biting on everything that Cyril's doing. And like we've seen Volkov just beat the piss out of the Black Beast for, you know, quite a few rounds, and then gets knocked out. And then he just beats the piss out of Alistair
Over.
Overeem, like no problem, just beat the shit out of him. And then Cyril Gane just fucking comes in and just shuts him down, you know?
Yeah. I think his jab was working wonders that night. His jab was super fast. He didn't telegraph it at all. Volkov was eating it a lot. And
Yeah.
I think the speed differential was really evident. There was a few times when Volkov would go to counter a shot after he kind of figured out a little bit what Cyril was doing. He would go to counter, and Cyril had already landed a shot and pivoted out to the side when um, when Volkov was throwing his counter punch, and the
Yeah.
speed differential was really evident, I thought, and the footwork from Gane was um, very, the way he circled off on the fence, especially in the small cage. Volkov would try and cut him off, and Volkov's fucking big. He's tall. He takes long strides, and he was having a really hard time cutting off the cage at all. Every time he would, Cyril would be able to circle out right to the middle of the cage, just
Hmm.
by having much fleeter of foot movement, and I was really impressed with that. For a big guy, he fights like a middleweight.
Yeah, he kind of looks like Steven Thompson out there sometimes.
Yeah,
He yeah, just his defense. Like he just anytime Volkov would throw anything, he just moving his head, he's getting out of the way, he's putting his guard up at the right time. He just like it just seems like Volkov couldn't really do anything, even though he was like right there in front of him for a lot of the fight. Like he wasn't that far out of range. He wasn't, it just I don't know. It was surprising, and I think that's why Cyril opened up as quite a good favorite over the Black Beast, because his
well,
defense and his timing and his speed is just like crazy for heavyweight.
yeah, but also the Black Beast relies on one hitter quitter, right? I
Yeah,
mean, he loses
yeah, that's
most
what I
fights
mean.
until he wins by knockout, right? So, I mean, the Black Beast has been an underdog in almost every single fight he's had,
Yeah,
just because he's always losing until he wins, right? So, um, plus Volkov beat the shit out of the Black Beast for 2 rounds and 4.5 minutes.
hmm
So I don't know. I mean, you never know, right? I like, why the fuck are they? I mean, I guess you called it what that interim title fight. Now they're doing Cyril Gane versus Derek the Black Beast Lewis, and
yeah,
I think it's obviously. I think you mentioned it last episode or a couple ago that Ngannou wasn't playing ball, basically, right? Ngannou wants to get paid, or he's trying to hold out for the Jones fight. And I think
yeah,
that's what John Jones was doing as well, right? They were both kind of just holding out, like, let's get fucking paid. We'll fight each other.
yeah,
And Dana or Hunter Campbell, whoever it is just like, oh yeah, well, have fun making fucking nothing.
yeah, yeah. It's
We'll just strip your ass. Then what? Then you got nothing. Then you're gonna fight the number one contender.
yeah, for 200K instead of potentially seven-figure payday. Well, probably for sure a seven-figure payday.
Heavyweight title.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're making more than $1 million.
yeah.
Maybe
It's
not.
yeah, it's I don't know. They just sometimes they remind guys like, hey, don't fucking forget that we call the shots. We're the boss. Because sometimes like champions can pretty much do what they want. They call the fights and it generally happens. But I think if you're not on their good side, they go out of their way to be like, no, you're gonna do this fight. Or John is asking for too much money. So fuck that. We're not doing that fight, you know? And I think Francis came out and he said, like from the get-go, he's like, I don't really want to fight the Black Beast. Our last fight was dumb. Don't want to do it. I can't remember his reasoning, but he just said he wasn't interested. He wants to fight John.
Francis said that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's what's happening. Because I mean, he just won the belt 3 months ago. Why would they do an interim champion? Like, makes no sense. I think overall it looks bad on the UFC's part. I think it does. Um, like it's 3 months. 3 months. That's some shit. You gave it to Connor for a year and a half.
Oh yeah. I think it was,
So
yeah, it was at least that. But that's because he was fighting Floyd, right? Wasn't
yeah.
he? Yeah.
Was it? Oh yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
still, I mean, year and a half. That's pretty crazy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean that's August. I think that fight is August 7th, which means that he probably won't be fighting until December, November kind of thing at the earliest.
Yeah.
So fuck, like now he's got to sit out for another 6 months, 5 months.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Derek Lewis does kind of deserve a title shot. He's won
Yeah,
4 in a row.
as much as you hate to say
I know it.
that.
It pains me, but I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
He beat Curtis Blades though. Like, does that deserve a title shot? I would ideally. not, but in these circumstances, I guess. I mean, there's
Hmm.
not exactly a lot of heavyweights right now. I mean, Stipe, you could probably give it to him, but I don't know if you should
I don't know if
because,
you
you
should
know,
give
what have you
Stipe
done?
a good fight. Give him a big
Yeah,
fight, but give Stipe John. That's what I think needs to happen.
yeah. I mean, who else could it be, right? Cyril Gane is on a win streak. Curtis Blades just got knocked out. Volkov just got beat. Rosenstrike just got beat. So, yeah,
Yeah,
basically, I don't know. If Francis doesn't want to fight, what does Dana say? Well, there's a lot of ways to turn down a fight. Oh, the guy just
yeah,
didn't want to fight.
yeah. I wonder what the stories is there because his manager was like, "We were totally shocked. We had no idea this was happening." And Dana was like, "Obviously, that's fucking bullshit." He knew well what was going on, and yeah, I just want to know like what actually is going on. I want to see
Well,
some
I think
emails leaked here.
I think he wants to get paid, and Dana was like, "No,
No.
I'll show you with that. You don't have the leverage. Just because you
Yeah.
have the belt, you think you have the leverage. Well, we'll make an interim title. Well, I just got it like 4 months ago. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Interim.
And the thing is, they can really twist it to make it sound like Dana doesn't mind lying. He'll say whatever he needs to say to make it sound like the fighter's being a little bitch. And pretty
Yeah.
much the story gets bought every time. Oh yeah. Ngannou's ducking Derek Lewis or Ngannou's doing this. It's like he probably just wants to get paid a fair fucking salary.
Man, that was literally like 92 days ago.
Yeah. Literally. Like he just won the belt. Fuck. Poor
Well, now
guy,
they are
eh?
going to make it look like he's a bitch if he doesn't fight the winner of
Yeah.
Cyril versus Lewis, right?
Yeah. Well, I think they were probably really pressuring him to take this fight kind of last minute because I don't think he's training right now. I think that was kind of the story is he's not training right now, but because that card is so weak, they need another title on that card.
Why isn't he training?
I don't know. That's just what I read. Like he just got back to the States now. He was doing like a victory lap. Like I just fucking beat Stipe.
Oh, well, 3 months? Whew.
Yeah. Fuck, why
Well,
not? His
I'd
ego's
probably,
getting to him again. Just like
I'd
Dana
just,
said.
yeah.
His
This
ego
guy's ego's
totally
out of
got to him.
control. It's out of control.
Yeah. I think the relationship never really recovered after that. I
Yeah,
doubt
like I
they
don't know.
made
Well,
up.
the guy knocked out 5 people in 95 seconds. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
he can't be denied.
I'd have an ego too.
Yep.
Probably just got a fucking Hagoso on him too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's got more knockouts by that thing than he does his right hand.
Those are mostly TKOs. What else you want to talk about on this fight card here? Uh,
uh
what is where does Volkov go from here?
Volkov has to rest and figure it out. He needs a slower opponent, you know.
Volkov
Give him
versus Rosenstrike, the
Rosenstrike. That's what
slowest
I was just about
opponent
to
you could
say.
have.
Yeah. The one thing about Gon is though he kind of makes for a little bit of a boring fight, you know?
I really appreciate the style, but I get what you mean.
Yeah, no, I like the style. It's smart. He's a smart fighter, especially for being such an amateur fighter. Or not amateur, sorry, but green.
Yeah,
And most guys develop that kind of style throughout their career, not like at the beginning.
yeah. Um,
So it's cool.
so
But
I mean,
I
we'll
want to see the
say that
fight.
he beats the Black Beast, just because I mean he probably will be able to outpoint the Black Beast to a decision win. Um, what does he do against Francis?
Dude, he might shut Francis down. Who knows? The guy
Or
can
he
go the
could,
distance.
or he
He's got a
could,
better gas tank.
he could become decapitated in 9 seconds.
He could, but we haven't really seen him be even like wobbled yet, have we?
Yeah, but
And don't get me
yeah,
wrong, I'm not saying that Francis, like, obviously Francis can knock him out just like everybody else, but I just think Cyril is really fast and he's got really good defense and like he's got a good gas tank too.
hmm
Um, so if he can get through the first round or maybe the first two rounds of Francis, fuck man, I think he could really put it on Francis in rounds 4 and 5, maybe even
yeah.
three.
I mean, Francis
But
can
he's got to
only
mix in
do
some grappling. I
Yeah,
think.
Francis can only do the windmill thing for so long.
Yeah.
And Stipe said that Francis was getting tired in the second round. He said he could feel
Mhm.
him slowing down, and then he got knocked out.
And then I got knocked out in my knee, bent in a
Oh,
way that it shouldn't bend.
oh, I forgot about that. That was rough.
Oh, I
Gross.
hate that
Poor
feeling.
Stipe.
Poor Stipe.
I love Stipe.
He's not a very graceful person that gets knocked out. It's always like a very aggressive looking knockout when he gets knocked out. I don't know why.
Well, most guys that get knocked out are pretty
Some guys
aggressive
go
when
to
they get
sleep
knocked.
peacefully though. You know,
Do they?
he makes it seem
Like
like
who? Who goes to sleep peacefully?
I'm
I
trying to think of one.
I need you to
I'll think of one.
elaborate here. There's not a
I'll
lot
think
of peaceful knockouts.
there is. Trust
Like
me.
what do you mean peaceful? Like
Like
the
guys
way
literally just get hit and just like sleeping.
oh, like
You
when
know?
Overeem got knocked out by Francis?
No, because then that follow up punch. There was nothing peaceful about that follow up punch.
There's nothing peaceful about
It's
any
got to be like
punching.
a Sean O'Malley kind of walk off, like Eddie Wineland kind of thing. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm trying to say.
All right.
It just
I
looked.
think I'm picking up what you're putting down. Um, but yeah, no, devastation. Peacefully just go to sleep. Um, did you see the Timur Valiev versus Hani Barcelos fight?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was a good scrap. Do you think that fight should have been a draw?
Honestly, I'd have to watch it again. I just
I,
remember it was like Tamir kind of won the first round, and
yeah,
then
and then
Leone really put it on him in the second round.
he dropped him twice and almost finished him.
Yeah, yeah, and then
And
Tamir
then
kind of recovered.
the third round, Tamir probably won, but it was somewhat close. So I
Yeah,
gave a 10-8 in the second round for Hani, and then Tamir I gave round 1 and 3. But I think the judges fucking goofed him.
yeah. I think you're a little too liberal with that 10-8.
I don't know, man. He fucking dropped him twice. He hit his ass on the canvas 2 separate times in the same round and almost finished him in the first one. Like dazed him, confused him. Like the guy was on, he was almost out.
Yeah,
And then dropped him again a minute later. I don't know, man. Like what is a 10-8 round if not like almost finishing a guy twice?
yeah.
And
I
he
think
was
a 10-8
landing
round
some,
really has to be like a
it was some pretty devastating fucking ground and pound too.
yeah. I'd have to rewatch it, like I said, but
Yeah, I just rewatched it this morning, so it's kind of fresh. But I just remember
yeah,
thinking like, fuck, man. I don't know, because if you barely beat a guy for 2 rounds and then he beats the shit out of you for 1 round, I think you should win the fight.
yeah.
I don't
It
know.
could have been a draw. I mean, nobody would have been up in arms, but I don't know.
Yeah. Ah, fuck it.
What about
Uh,
that Tanner Bowser
Tanner the
character?
Bulldozer Boza did not grab the fence.
Yeah, that was like, Buddy making him out to be like this fucking cheating dude. It's like,
DC
bro, yeah, DC. Like,
just
dude, he didn't
fucking
fucking
lighten him
grab the
up.
fence.
He
Yeah, made him look
apologized
like a
though.
piece of shit. Did
Yeah, he
he?
did apologize later. Yeah, he did a big thing on Twitter or fucking whatever. But
Oh, okay, that's good then.
still, because even when
Is he
who was
allowed
it?
to do
Paul
that?
Felder. Paul Felt well, yeah, you have to be able to push off. And
Yeah,
he even closed his knuckles and kind of like just lifted with his knuckles.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but it did sure look like a fence grab though, because when I was watching it in real time, I was like, "Oh no!" And then I was like, "Oh okay, maybe it's okay."
yeah,
But good job for hopefully the ref either just didn't see it at all or he noticed that he didn't grab the fence. Because
yeah,
um, if he would have stopped it and said, "Hey, like here's a point or whatever for that fence grab," it would have been a different result probably, right? And
yeah.
that fight really helped me in my fantasy pick because I picked Bozer.
Fuck, I hate OSP.
He did
He's
nothing.
just
Did
he
he
just
throw
shows
seven
no
punches?
urgency in any of his fights anymore.
I feel like
Like
he threw
none.
7 punches.
Yeah, he just cruises. He just takes leg kicks and then he just there's no explosion in him at all. There's no urgency. I can't stand it. Can't stand it. He's just hoping that Buddy tries to guillotine him every time. He's like, please, please, guillotine me. See what happens.
Guillotine me so I can OSP choke your ass to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, Bozer landed the most vicious knee. And then when he starts throwing those big haymaker left hands, like, fuck, they're just devastating.
Yeah. Yeah. He's
He
not the
winds
biggest
up,
heavyweight, but he's pretty quick.
yeah, and he winds up just to the sun and fucking bing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Plus, he has a
You gotta
mullet.
love it because he's from Edmonton, you know?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
probably been in
Edmonton.
1900 street fights.
Oh, guaranteed, man. The bar scene in that city is fucking rough.
Oh,
Everyone's
it's
just
wild.
cold as shit. They want to fight.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're just all angry where they live. Oh, I live in this
Yeah.
shit city. I'm gonna take it out on everybody around me.
Who is also angry because they live in this shithole city.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. What else we got to talk about here? Any news this week? I guess we're pretty much done with this fight card.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week to break down the Connor versus Dustin Poirier trilogy. Obviously, that's Saturday, July 10th. Looking forward to that fight card. Some good fights
Poor
lower on in the
Gilbert
card on that one.
Burns.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough fight for him against Stephen
Fuck.
Thompson, but it's not a
You
unwinnable
know what?
fight.
Maybe Gilbert fucking takes him down and just strangles him. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Most guys can't, and they don't, and they just get beat up on the feet. But you never know.
Yes.
Hopefully,
Yes.
Gilbert has seen that enough times to be like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try and take him down.
I mean, it's a pretty close fight on paper, honestly. Stephen Thompson's minus 155.
Yeah,
Not
that
that
sounds
big of a
about right.
favorite. I mean, Thompson's 37 years old too, right? So,
Yeah, but he looked so good in his last fight.
yeah, he did. He did look good. What else we got on this fight card? Sean O'Malley versus Luis Smolka.
Oh, dude, Nico Price versus Pereira. Fuck, that's
Oh,
gonna
that's
be
going to be
a
a
good
good fight.
fight.
Fuck, I love Nico Price, man.
I love Pereira.
Me too. I like them both, honestly. Pereira's
Yeah.
just super entertaining. I'm going to pick Nico Price to win that fight, though. He's an
How
underdog,
dare
too,
you?
plus 135. I'm taking Nico Price all day. That guy's a fucking wild man. And Michelle Pereira tends to gas out
No, not in his last fight. He showed a lot more self control and
against, who was that? I picked against him, too. Chaos, was that Chaos?
yeah,
Yeah,
chaos. Yeah, I thought he showed a lot of maturity in that fight.
he did, yeah. No, it was a really good performance. But I think that he's going to be looking for a knockout because that was a snooze fest.
Yeah.
He's a
Ryan
wild
Hall
man.
versus Taporia. Fuck, that's a
Yeah, I
good
like
fight
that,
too.
too. Yeah.
Him
Ilya
versus Gane.
Topuria is a big favorite too. He's a minus 230.
Really?
Yeah, which is kind of makes sense because, I mean, Ryan Hall hasn't beat anybody yet. He beat the ghost of BJ Penn.
The ghost of BJ Penn.
Like,
How
the
dare you?
fucking the Lava
He's not a
Shack BJ
very
Penn.
he's not a very busy fighter, is he?
No, he's got like 5 fights in 7 years or whatever it is. Like,
What the fuck are you
he's like, I'm
doing?
only fighting top 5 guys. It's like, well, like I said, previous statement, you beat BJ Penn.
Yeah.
Like, and then BJ Penn got knocked out by a guy at the Lava Shack. So, I mean, it's
At the
just not.
Lava Shack.
Yeah, I saw it on YouTube.
Yeah, that was sad.
That was a tough one. Imagine being able to be like, yeah, knocked out BJ Penn, and
Yeah.
and you live in Hawaii.
Yeah.
But
Fuck.
then BJ Penn beat the shit out of him later that night after he found him.
Yeah, you got to get the first one on guys like that. You can't you don't want to fight them fairly or have them get the jump on you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He beat him up later. It was rough. Also at the Lava Shack.
just just super concussed. Just beating the fuck
Oh
out.
yeah, man. BJ Penn used to have the fucking best chin of all time,
Yeah.
and then it went downhill.
Father Time gets everybody. Even Ryan Hall, man. The dude is 36 years old. He's no spring chicken.
No, exactly. Ilya Topuria is not even ranked either, so I was kind of surprised he took that fight.
Mm-hmm.
He must have been like, "Oh, fuck it, I kind of have to get a win here because guys are like, you have to fight someone, otherwise, eventually, you're just not gonna get there,
Yeah.
right? Like you've won 5 or 6 fights in a row, you're not even in the top 15 because you never fight.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh
I
boy.
get it. What else is on that card? Trevin Giles. Ooh, Jessica Eyes fighting. Nice.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah. Here we go, evil. Here we go. Yeah, no, that'll be a good fight. Carlos Condit making his return against Max Griffin. Fuck. Carlos, just retire, please. You're like my favorite fighter for so long, and now it's tough watching these guys just hang around.
Yeah,
Tai Tuivasa versus Greg Hardy too. That
that's a
should
good
be
fight, actually.
that should be a slop fest.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Imagine the third
Someone's
round with those two gassers. Oh,
yeah.
I can't wait. Greg
Wow.
Hardy just sucking down the inhaler in between round 2 and 3.
How's that fight gonna go?
I think Greg Hardy's gonna beat him, or
You think
Tuivasa could.
so?
I mean, it could happen.
That's a tough one to pick, actually.
Greg Hardy's improved a lot between fights, right? I mean, he went to a decision with Volkov.
I know, but then he fucking got beat up pretty handedly by
Martian Tybura.
yeah, Tybura.
Yeah, but he's a
You know?
grappler.
Well, yeah, but still, he just kind of like he gassed in that, did he not? I remember like thinking like, oh fuck, he's already beat.
Well, he can't grapple for 2 rounds, right? Like that's a lot of fucking. He's not used to grappling, right? He's gonna get tired. He can strike for a couple rounds,
Yeah.
but we'll see. It's actually a good fight card. It'll be good to talk about next week. We kind of dipped into it a little bit, but we should leave some content for next week.
Yeah.
All right. You got anything else you want to talk about before we sign off for the week?
Ooh. No, I don't think so.
No news on the fucking underground this week.
Yeah, I mean we saw Joe Schilling. I just watched it today. He knocked out some drunk dude at a bar, and it was pretty disturbing.
Yeah, that was a tough one, man.
Because
Just
it could have been avoided entirely.
oh yeah, as with most bar fights.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even really call it a bar fight. Basically, the guy was like, Schilling was looking for a fucking problem.
Yeah. I mean, the other guy was obviously looking for a problem too. But like Schilling,
Yeah, but
like
you don't
it's not
fucking
even like
move
he was
people.
big or anything, right? Or like it's just
No, but
I
if you're
think
standing at a
prick
bar
move.
and some guy just fucking grabs you and moves you, right? I'm not gonna be happy about it either.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, at the same time, talk shit, get hit.
Yeah, I mean the guy did make a hesitation or like a movement towards him, right? It was kind
Yeah,
of hard
but
to see in the film,
I
but
feel like I feel like Schilling was already swinging. Like he was
he was
already.
already, yeah. He's like, you do one thing that
Yeah.
is it all resembles an attack on me. I'm gonna hit you with this right. And Buddy went down before he even got a chance to hit him with the follow up. You know, like
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was perfect placement. Good shot.
yeah. Joe
Uh,
Schilling, he's not the kind of guy to take shit. You can just tell he's like, I will literally fuck up anybody at any time.
yeah, yeah. The guys on Reddit were just fucking lighting him up, showing all of the highlights of him getting knocked out
Oh, really?
after that video got circulated.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's just like,
Yeah.
well, the guy was saying racist stuff. It's like, well, last time I checked, we still have free speech. I mean, just because someone
Yeah.
says something racist doesn't mean you get to just fucking kill them.
Yeah. I
I
think
mean,
when
plus
you
that's probably
kind
just.
of
I think he just said that because he posted the video on his fucking Twitter or whatever, and everyone was just being like, "Oh, you sucker punch some random small guy," and he's like, "Oh, he was being racist."
yeah, why would you post it?
Yeah, I know. And he was like
You have to
saying
know that that's going to
like
make
he's
you look like an idiot, like a
yeah, like
trained killer.
that's twice the guy's size.
Yeah.
And you fucking it's not like the guy squared up. You bashed him.
Yeah, you didn't push him and let him swing at you. You just fucking cold cocked him. That guy had no idea that was coming. No idea.
No. No, and
Oh,
he probably still
yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He's like, what the fuck? Why did I have to be partying in the same building as that guy?
Yeah. Why is that guy so angry?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hope he gets charged, man, because it was pretty brutal.
Well, it's
You
just
can be like, oh,
unnecessary,
self
right?
defense. Yeah, it's totally unnecessary.
I mean, you could kill someone by doing that, right? The guy fucking smashed his melon on the ground.
Oh yeah.
like really badly.
Luckily, he didn't go up for any follow-up punches. That would have been egregious. Like knocks him out
Yeah,
and just gives him
let's
a
get
few
some
on the ground.
let's get some G and P.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's Steve Mazzagatti to stop this fight?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, okay. Well, let's wrap this thing up then, I guess. Eh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is episode 91 of the Modern Day MMA podcast. Thanks a lot for listening, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video and leave us a 5-star rating on your podcast platform. We really appreciate that. And we will see you next week. We will break down the Conor versus Poirier trilogy at UFC 264. Thanks a lot for listening. We'll see you in 7 days.